Hello, what's going on everyone? Alistair Bullock back again with another weekly catch-up of all the latest automotive and motorsport news, although there's no motorsport news this week. So let's dive straight into what's happening in the car world. So first off, of course, Ford plan to reduce the number of cars it has and move more into SUVs and crossovers. So they plan on doing this by bringing out the Mondeo again, or bringing back the Mondeo as a mid-sized crossover. And Ford plan on bringing this Mondeo out in 2021. This new crossover will have petrol, diesel and petrol hybrid engines, and it's not just going to replace the Mondeo, but it will also replace the S-Max and the Galaxy as Ford get rid of their MPVs to replace them with crossovers and SUVs. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call this a crossover, more of a raised wagon, but of course that's not necessarily got a great name to it. I would think more of a crossover as the EcoSport and the new Puma, which are terrible cars, and a raised wagon is 100% cooler. So please, car manufacturers, decide to do more crossovers as in raised wagons. Now, as I'm a massive fan of wagons, let's stick with them. And this is the new Mercedes AMG CLA 45S 4MATIC shooting brake. Why do car makers love having long names for things? It'd just be so much simpler if it was just the CLA 45S wagon. As this is a car that's already out, it's only slight upgrades over the previous model in terms of the looks as well as how the actual car runs. So it's set to come out in late 2019. It should have 415 brake horsepower with 369 pound-foot of torque. Likewise with the new A45 and the new CLA 45 Saloon, it will come with an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission with paddles on the steering wheel. As it is a 4MATIC, it's four-wheel drive. It also comes with this quite cool multi-clutch plate system, which basically has two clutches for the rear wheels to change the amount of power going to each wheel, allowing that sort of torque vectoring. But it's quite cool the fact that both rear wheels kind of have independent but linked clutches. It will do 0 to 62 in 4 seconds flat if you get the S model. If you get the non-S CLA 45 shooting brake, it will do 0 to 62 in about 4.2, 4.3 seconds. It is limited to 155 miles an hour, but if you get an optional extra drivage package, it will go up to 168 miles an hour. It has a slightly wider boot entrance as well as 10 litres more of storage capacity over the previous CLA shooting brake. With the exterior, it follows a lot of the similar styling cues that Mercedes have gone down, where all their cars look basically identical, just in smaller versions. But I think that suits this car really well, and I'm actually really like it. Normally I would have gone for more of the C63 estate, but actually I think the CLA 45S looks just as good, if not slightly better. Moving away from wagons now, and we go over to the great lands of America for the brand new Chevrolet Corvette C8 Stingray. This new Corvette has created a bit of a crazy storm on social media over the past couple of days since its launch, because it is the first mid-engined Corvette with a 6.2 litre V8 pushing out 495 brake horsepower. This Stingray is the base level Corvette and will do 0 to 60 in just under 3 seconds, making it the fastest ever base level Corvette. And they will be bringing out faster versions like the Z06 and the ZR1-esque versions in the future. With the switch to mid-engined, it has got slightly longer, it's got slightly wider, it's got slightly lower, and it's got slightly heavier. But Chevrolet says this in no way impacts the driving. If anything, it has gotten better, because they said that the original front-engined style of performance had kind of reached its peak, and the only way they could create a better car than the previous C7 was to go mid-engined. This will also be the first Corvette to be offered in a right-hand drive variant. This truly is the Corvette of many firsts, because again, this is the first Corvette. I feel like I've said that for every point, but it is the first Corvette to be offered without a manual gearbox. Instead, Chevrolet have opted for an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission with paddles on the steering wheel. So one of the main things that has caused such a storm about this car on social media is its looks. From some pictures it looks great, other pictures it just looks so unfinished. It's like a back half of like the old C7 that's just been extended, and the front half of what I think looks like a more modern version of a Ferrari F430, and then just a little cockpit section in the middle. It seems as though it's three different cars have kind of been merged together to create it. And some pictures it looks great, and in other pictures, again, I saw a picture where it was side on. It didn't necessarily look that good side on. Maybe it's just pictures. I'm looking forward to seeing it in person, and maybe it'll grow on us, but who knows. Now, I'm gonna say 6 words, and I want you to try and guess what car you think this applies to. This new car is the most powerful production car ever. I'll give you a second. Write in the comment section down below what car you think is the most powerful production car ever. Now, I'm very happy about this because it is my favorite car brand in the entire world, Lotus. I love that. I can't get over it. I'm just going to keep saying it. Lotus are creating the most powerful production car ever. Lotus are creating the most powerful production car ever. You know who's making the most powerful production car ever? Lotus. So how much power is the most power for any kind of production car? Well, that is 1,973 brake horsepower. That's almost 2,000 horsepower. That's ridiculous. All from electric engines. To put that into perspective, that is more power than the Pininfarina Battista, the Rimac Concept 2, and the Bugatti Chiron. So only 130 of the new Lotus Evija, I think that's how you pronounce it, the Evija will be made. So let's go over a couple of the top headline facts and figures that we know so far about the car. It has 4-wheel drive, 1,254 pound-foot with torque vectoring. It will do 0 to 62 miles an hour in under 3 seconds. It will do 0 to 186 miles an hour in under 9 seconds. And will go on to have a top speed of more than 200 miles an hour. It has a 70 kilowatt hour battery that is capable of being charged at up to 350 kilowatts. That means you could get a full charge in around 18 minutes and go on to do a real world range of 250 miles. All of this from Williams Advanced Engineering. Williams, of course, being the Formula One team, and their advanced engineering section being the same people that have created the batteries for the current Formula E cars. Because this is a Lotus car, they are constantly battling to keep weight down. Therefore, both the chassis and the body will be made out of carbon fiber, bringing the total weight of the vehicle down to just 1,680 kilograms. Let me put that into perspective again. Both the Pininfarina Battista and the Rimac Concept 2 are heavier. This car will be more powerful and lighter than its 2 main electric rivals. As a quick side note though, both the Pininfarina and the Rimac run slightly larger battery capacities, so in theory they will run a longer range. But again, in a hypercar, what do you want? You don't necessarily want range in a hypercar, you want speed, and you will get speed with the most powerful production car ever. Personally, I'm very, very excited about this car. I think it's breaking boundaries, and to begin with, I didn't necessarily like the way it looked, but over time, you can learn to appreciate how it's been designed and why it's been designed. You look at it in the same way that you would look at a McLaren Senna. It's been sculpted to fit through air or to get around the track as fast as possible. You know, with the amazing opened kind of gussets that you have from the side of the car through to the rear of the car, like the Ford GT does. This car has purely been designed to go as fast as possible, with the most power possible, and it being very lightweight. Imagine what this could do on a track, going up against the likes of the Aston Martin Valkyrie. This would be 2 kind of British greats of Aston Martin and Lotus creating hypercars to go up against each other. Hell, throw in the McLaren Senna as well. See what they can all do around a track in terms of power and performance. I would love to see a shootout for that. For me personally, I feel like that is going to be the British holy trinity of hypercars. Of course, the original holy trinity being the P1, the 918 and the LaFerrari. Britain itself could have its very own holy trinity of hypercar track monsters. I would love to see all 3 of them round a track somewhere. Someone please make that happen. Someone who's got loads of money, make that happen. And call me up, because if you know, if someone tells you, they've probably seen this video, so get in touch with me, I'll come and film it. Job's a good one. So there we have it. They have been my top news stories of the week. If you did like the video, make sure you're subscribed, because I'll be back here this time next week with more news from the automotive and motorsport world. So until then, I'll see you later.